For the Academic Courtyard Project, 80 Academy Drive, map 218, lot 150, case number 2025-14. And if we could have somebody from Brewster come up and present.
I need to step down.
And Steve will be stepping down. And let's make sure we have, I think Kathy, you sat on this before, is that right? Yeah. All right, so we have one.
Oh, maybe that's what this is.
We need one more. So, Jane, can you sit in Juan's place? Thank you.
Well, who sat before is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I think it's Jane and Kathy.
You sat for Steve, but everybody else was here.
And there's two more.
I think the microphone's turned off. If you could, you got it. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Should be a pro at this now.
okay. No, because this is okay.
Good evening, everyone. Andy Smith with DSK, Senior Associate. I'm here again tonight to represent Brewster Academy for the Academic Courtyard Project. Yet again, here we are. A lot has happened since our last meeting. We are going to go quickly through kind of a summary of what has transpired in terms of communications, in terms of deliverables, and hopefully we can get to a resolution at the end, and we'd greatly appreciate approval of the project tonight. You should have with you a couple of letters. We have two from Brewster Academy. We have one from Oak Consulting Group. As you may remember, the last time we met, some of the outstanding concerns were related to Green Street traffic flow. I know there was a lot of back and forth. You probably remember it well. We've done everything that we can to address that since that meeting. Obviously, we've been listening along the way and trying to make improvements to the proposal as best we can. So the first letter I have is July 22nd from Brewster, and I'm going to kind of use that as a little bit of an outline to talk about what's transpired and how we've kind of resolved outstanding issues here. So the bullet point on the first page, tree removal, that was a comment that came up earlier on in one of the meetings requesting removal of the fence and certain trees to improve visibility. We took care of that in the last plant drawing set submission that we provided. The second, vehicular egress, we as you remember, I think it was maybe 2 meetings ago, submitted plans for extending Academy Drive through back up to the parking lot to maintain a vehicular flow back out of campus so that less traffic is kind of reliant on going through the Green Street, that connection. The third bullet point is related to the recent submission that we've provided for building a new car-to-access motorized lifting barrier gate at the property line between Brewster Academy and Green Street, really to provide that more physical separation between the two. And then we've also included some other accessory items like some fencing around that to make sure that nobody's driving around the barrier gate, things like that. We've reached out to, Brewster's reached out to the residents of Green Street, so I'm not going to speak for them, obviously, but that was in the letter dated from August 16th, where we just kind of documented that those conversations took place and that they seem to be mostly positive and productive. And that's what's kind of documented here. We just want to make sure there's a written record that Brewster has actually reached out to the residents outside of this formal hearing process, and come to a consensus in terms of how that gate will operate and how it will function to help reduce traffic flow on Green Street. So we're positive that this will hopefully alleviate any remaining concerns. The other comments were related to the kind of ongoing peer review by Ty and Bond, and so that is in this other letter dated August 11th from Oak Consulting Group. That takes the last remaining comments from that peer review process and documents that we've responded to each one, or by incorporating the changes into the documents which were resubmitted. So that is the I&M report, and also I think that's the one we sent back, I believe, and the stormwater report as well, I believe. Right, John? Yep. Okay. So overall, we feel like this has kind of wrapped up everything in a bow in terms of how we feel like this will alleviate any concerns by abutters, by neighbors. We're hopeful that this is a good solution and that we've addressed any sort of other design questions that may have come up as well. We've also reached out to the Fire Chief Zadi to confirm about the gate. He says he's okay with the gate. We just need to provide a Knox box, which Brewster's happy to do. And he was on vacation for a bit, so we're working to get that written documentation for you, but it's on its way.
Could I get you to speak? Could I get you to speak?
Oh, yep, I can hear you.
It's on.
Yours isn't working, eh?
Could I get you to speak a little closer to your microphone?
Yes, you're welcome.
Actually, you can move the mic closer to you
Oh,
if you
I can
like. It's the whole
I can only
stand.
move so close to the podium.
The stand is about 6 inches back. There you go.
That's the problem. Okay. Is that better? Okay, good. I'll just say that one more thing is we have the illustrative plan that we had submitted. So this was in addition to the actual construction documents, and that's to help kind of show that additional scope of work that's over at the Green Street property boundary line. And so that's showing the location of the proposed motorized lift gate, and also some of the other accessory items, the other little fence, post and rail, wood fence that would be on the kind of planned left side of the Green Street entry there to prevent people from driving around the gate. You know, you don't want that where people are getting frustrated at a barrier like that and actually driving over the grass. So Brewster's trying to go above and beyond and provide and make sure that this is as secure of a entry point as possible. And I'm happy to answer any questions related to those diagrams. Hopefully it's somewhat self-sufficient, it explains itself, but I'm happy to answer any questions related to it.
Can you give me
Thank
an estimate on the distance from the intended gate to the closest house on Green Street?
So we've got so if you look in the inset, this document and as well as the one that's printed up there. We have a distance of about 90 feet that's shown on the post and rail wood fence that's on that left side. So sorry, it's kind of small as I hold it up, but down in this bottom right diagram here. So that left side shows about a 90-foot fence, and you can see that that goes most of the way to the property line, and I would say it's a little bit further to get to the nearest house, although I believe that's a Brewster residence. Right?
And how about on the other side of the street?
Probably, let's see, that's maybe 120 feet, something like that, 150 feet.
Okay. Yeah. And the reason for my question is that I know that one of the residents had a concern with vehicles having to stop at the gate and being in front of their house.
Okay.
So if it's 190 or 100 feet, then not quite in front of their house.
Right. They're going to be there's also like the piece of of Brewster's property that kind of cuts in, it dips down, it actually extends Green Street down a bit.
Yeah.
And here, there we go. We're traveling. So here's this part right here that kind of dips down and over there. So there's the proposal is to have a gate off to the side with enough room that someone that does come to the end of the road will have a little bit of a turnaround moment there that they can, if they do need to turn around, they can pull in, pull back out, and reverse course if needed. So it's not just going to be a straight dead end. And that's where we're showing just a basic static metal fence gate that will remain locked for the most part, and that will be only occasionally used by the facilities team at Brewster as needed.
Who's going to be responsible for plowing that in the wintertime?
Do you know operations? That's Brewster.
So I have a question, Doug. I thought at the very end of the last meeting there was something about using the Clark Road entrance. I thought that was like the last lever you were pulling, or I don't know if I'm quoting you correctly, but that was at the very end of the last meeting. We heard something about possibly using Clark Road.
Right. So out of the conversations, both with our team and with the Green Street residents, we're trying to actually focus our energy right at the problem area instead of just opening up another one. So we've agreed that that is the kind of path that we want to take, is to put this gate in and leave the Clark Road entry as is right now. So no changes to the Clark Road entrance.
In my opinion, I think you've done a very good job of protecting the people on Green Street and keeping that situation under control. Mm-hmm. One of the things, though, I guess that sort of interests me is that the original plan was to make the center part of campus with no vehicle travel. But at the same time, I believe that my statements in the previous meeting were such that people would opt to go out on Academy Road rather than drive through a parking lot and drive out the other way. So it's one of those things where it's evolved. Mm-hmm. I think the evolution is a good direction. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you people have done a good job, but it does sort of interest me that originally you didn't want to have any travel by cars in that central area. Correct.
Yeah, we're trying to respond, and we are hearing all of the feedback, and also in terms of emergency vehicle access, things like that. We're still trying. I think that's still a goal, but for now, this is the path that I think works best for everyone. Although I would not suggest I would require it, but a speed bump or two on that one-way section might make it even less desirable. Right. Right. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If none, then we'll open the public comment section of this meeting.
Great,
Would
thank
anybody
you.
from the public like to speak?
Peter Batchelder, 10 Green Street. So, Christy Karen, the head of school, and Peter met with my wife. They met the people on Green Street that owns property on Green Street. I wasn't there, so when they stopped in, so Christy called me and we talked about what they've presented today. And at the time, it sounded pretty good. You know, put a gate at the end of Green Street, and that sounds good. And then keeping the Academy Drive one way sounded pretty good. But as I reflected over the past couple weeks on it, is that I don't think it solves the problem. I think it puts a Band-Aid on it, and a pretty good Band-Aid, no doubt. It really does put a good Band-Aid on it, and it really does kind of appease us, and it all sounds good. A gate sounds good. But the traffic, the amount of traffic is still going to be maybe a little less, but same amount. And so I don't believe that these two Band-Aids solve the problem. I think that Clark Road needs to open up. I don't like that. She didn't like that. Christy didn't want to do that. But what's the difference between opening up Clark Road and opening up Green Street? You could still put a buffer from the gate to Clark Road and put it so that people could turn around and exit Clark Road instead of Green Street. What's the difference? They don't want to open up Clark Road. I don't know all the reasons for it. I know a lot of people on Clark Road, if they found that out, they would be here tonight if they're going to open it up. But through the grapevine, small town, they know they're not going to open it up. Because if they said they were going to open it up, this place would be packed. So it's the same concept, but only two of us, two homes left on Green Street, are fighting for Green Street. For Brewster to fix their internal traffic pattern and not use Green Street as one of their main exits, whether it's a gate or not. So from a selfish standpoint, and I'm being selfish, same as what Clark Road, they'd be selfish. They don't want you exiting on Clark Road. No way. So I'm being selfish. So who's going to be more selfish? Who are you going to agree with? You're going to agree with Brewster being more selfish to use Green Street, or two residents that are left on Green Street, our selfishness to try to get Green Street protected, that the permanent or the historical village character of Green Street that's being decimated right now, like Estabrook was. When I moved 25 years ago into the home on 10 Green Street, Estabrook still had homes on it, and the Catholic Church was still there. And Brewster didn't own that. And there were a couple people that owned homes there, and I said, well, they might get to Green Street. They might. They're pretty good. They might edge over to us. But I didn't think so, so I watched Estabrook just get wiped out. And now I'm watching Green Street get wiped off the town map. It's 2 houses left, maybe 3, maybe 4, it depends who you talk to, but one's up for sale, and the other one a 93-year-old gentleman lives in. So I'm not sure what's going to happen to that. That borders Brewster's property. The house that has the ice skating rink behind it. So I don't want to be a pain in Brewster's side. I don't want to be the thorn in blowing their plan. They've got contractors, they're ready to go. I know this is costing them money to hold the contractors in limbo. But I still think that it's a safety issue. It's still a safety issue to exit off Green Street, whether that gate is there or not. Just like let's swap it, like I spoke, let's swap it. Close Green Street, open up Clark Road and put a gate there. They got the exit to exit Clark Road in 2 spots. They can exit the one spot that has a gate in front of it, and they can exit where the new dorm is. They can make a road right out there, or they can just use their parking lot, just like they are internally using their parking lot for Academy Drive, exiting all their internal traffic. So I still think that whether it's a gate or not, which is kind of cool in a way, you know, it kind of helps out the situation a little bit. I think it's still creating, it doesn't stop the traffic. It still creates some problems with the historical village character and charm of Green Street. Also, future development, the increased traffic that will happen, that gate will be, when they put another dorm at the end of Green Street, when they put that other new dorm that's as big as the other one on the end of Green Street, that gate is going to just be open. Leave it open. And you know what's going to happen? That's really a pain. Let's just get rid of it, because everybody uses it anyways. That's the pessimistic side of me, but I could see that happening. I could also see Academy Drive, that's now a one-way, turn into a walking path. And that's no disrespect to Brewster, but that's what they want anyways. And it kind of makes sense to make that a walking path. If I was them, I wouldn't want to have the one-way up the middle of their campus. That was what they wanted to take out. But to solve that problem, they have to put an internal road that doesn't exit off Green Street or Clark Road, that goes right to Estabrook, comes around the Smith Center, solves the problem, right by the ice rink. They got that whole parking lot to deal with. They can make a road there. They haven't solved the problem. They put 2 Band-Aids on it, which sound pretty good and aren't bad. You don't see the blood. It sounds good, it's not bad, but it doesn't solve the problem. Brewster needs to create an internal traffic pattern, and they have to figure out how to do it and not use Green Street. Also, maybe they said it, maybe it's in your report, and I apologize if it's in there, but I didn't see any signage, I didn't hear any signage to say, okay, you're going towards Green Street, no bus exit, no this exit, turn around, as they head by the Smith Center. It's a gate when you get to the Smith Center. If you're past that, it's a gate. You might not want to go this way, something like that. So there's a lot of signage they could put on their campus to help redirect away from Green Street. And if they've done that in the report, I don't know that. But I would like to see them put more signage on their campus directing traffic if I lose. If I lose tonight, and you see that I'm being too selfish to protect Green Street, if you feel that I'm being too selfish to say that the traffic pattern is not really going to change, if you think and you don't think that there's a safety issue, then so be it. You guys will make that decision. The other option to think about, because Brewster will not create an internal traffic pattern, they want to use Green Street. They are bent on using Green Street. They will not use Clark Road. The other option that's on the table that I don't know what kind of fight this would be for you, but is to make Green Street a dead end as it was when I bought the house. Because they will not use Green Street. They will use Green Street if you don't close it. They'll put a gate in front of it. Oh, they thought of that. That's pretty good. So I am being selfish. If this was your street and you saw it being decimated and you saw the traffic that was on it and you saw hemming and hawing and going around the issue at hand, which is to create an internal traffic pattern in the school and stay away from Green Street. You can do it. Now's the time. So this is the last fight, right? So this is it. You guys are going to make a decision, and that's going to be it. I know how this works. When you hit that gavel and it is over for Green Street. It's over. So thank you.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
If there is a gate there,
What?
if there is a gate at the
Yes.
end of Green Street,
Yep.
and therefore there can't be any people leaving the campus in that direction, and there may be some people who have historically driven Green Street to get to the campus, but then they find that they can't because there's a gate there. What kind of traffic ultimately is going to be on Green Street that is going to be headed or away from the Brewster campus? I don't quite understand what your argument is, and you're saying that it's not going to change the amount of traffic on it. If you can't get onto the campus because there's a gate, you're not going to go that way.
90% of the traffic is Brewster.
But
90% of the traffic's Brewster, maintenance and all that. The issue is future growth. Future growth. That campus, here's how future campus at the end of Green Street, just like the other one on Clark Road.
if there's a gate there, they can't go that way. I don't understand what you're talking about.
I understand that. That's why this is a great Band-Aid. It's an awesome Band-Aid. It solved their problem. All of Brewster, even though they say they're going to limit it to only a certain number of people to use the gate, and maybe initially they will, but after 4 headmasters and being lied to multiple times, not on purpose, they say the right thing, but then they do something else. Now, to me, we call it what it is, that gate's going to go away. That gate is going to go away, sir.
This is a non-locking, or it's a locking, non-motorized gate. You aren't going to have people who have permission to go there. It's locked.
Christie said that they'll have a pin that they can put in if they had to. They'll also have a card that a key card, and they'll put it on that, the gate will open. They can also put those on the vehicles. So they can put them all on the maintenance vehicles. They can put it on give anybody who they want a key card or the punch code. How fast do you think that punch code's going to get to everybody on campus? How fast do you think everyone's going to know that punch code? They're going to know it in about a half hour. Oh, the punch code is 22349. So my issue is future growth too. We can't just think about what it is today. Just like Estabrook. I never thought they'd ever get to Green Street, but they did. I never thought they'd buy all the houses on Green Street, or half of them, but they did. I never thought they'd put a dorm on Green Street, but they did. See what I mean? They will do what they want to do. So the things on the table are, I really think that the gate is a great Band-Aid. It's really hard for me to argue against it. I don't mind the gate. I'm just thinking a little bit in the future when they put the other dorm there, and when they say that the gate, we have a dorm down there, and we have 80 cars that go out that gate. It's so silly to have that gate there. We're just going to take the gate away. And just, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I know you guys are leaning probably towards this solution. We've had 4 meetings or whatever on it. The gate is a good solution to today's problem, and it helps control the traffic on Green Street. If Brewster would like to say maintenance can't use the Green Street, if Brewster would say we don't want employees other than those living on the end of Green Street to use Green Street, if they would enforce it. Remember, we had that conversation here when they said, when there was a chain across Green Street, it was a dead end. They made it, they came at the dead of night, and they changed that dead end to a no-through street. And the dead of night, so we fought them. We said, you can't take a dead end street and make it a no-through street sign. They said, oh, yes, we can. And that got passed. That got passed. So we fought them on that. We lost. We lost. So that dead end street, to me, it should be a dead end street, but now it's a no-through street. Then it had a chain across, and they promised us, Brewster promised us, the only people that are going to use Green Street are the maintenance people, and they'll take the chain off, and when they drive, they'll put the chain back. And they did that for about a couple months. Then the chain just got dropped, right? Who wants to get out, and maintenance people are at the end of Green Street, who wants to get out and take the chain off? So they left it off all day. And suddenly, they left it off. And then they said, only the maintenance people are going to use it. So then they decided that the maintenance people aren't going to use it.
If we made the requirement that only emergency vehicles could use that route, would that be fine for you?
At that point, only emergency vehicles, is that what you're referring to?
If that's what was required, is that okay?
Sure. It was at that point, at one point, when the chain went down and the red breakthrough chain went on because of emergency vehicles had to get to the dorms, we said, that's fine. We don't mind that. You can do that. So all I'm saying is that it just progressively, they took the street away from us.
All right, Mr. Batchelder, you've been speaking for 15 minutes now. I was hoping that you could wrap up your comments.
Yep. So I would make a strong motion to close Green Street, make it a dead-end street, only for the use of emergency vehicles, and Brewster find another way to create an internal traffic pattern for their school. Thank you.
This board has no authority to close Green Street. It's a public street. Brewster Academy has frontage on that street. They have a right to use it just as you do. And if we were to tell them they cannot use it, the town would have to pay damages to them for the loss of that right.
But 25 years ago, they could use it with a chain across. They didn't want to use it. So I guess they made that decision. 25 years ago, when I bought the house, that was a dead-end street and had a chain across, and they didn't want anyone going through their campus there.
Yeah, but I think the point is that Brewster made that decision, not the town. So Brewster can, of course, decide whether they want to use that street or not, or use that entrance, I should say, from Green Street into their campus or not, which is much different from the town trying to deny them use of it.
So thank you. If Brewster can make it, or if the town can say no through street, and then, but before it was a dead-end street, can I go and make it a dead-end street?
Well,
Even-
so technically, there is no such thing in law as a dead-end street. I know that's common usage, but the proper usage is a street with no exit. So we can use the proper terminology, and certainly it's not a through street because it doesn't go to any other public street.
True.
So under the discussion in 2002, Brewster Academy was given the right to access their property by legal right, and the signs that were put up were for no through traffic. So the town had an attorney weigh in on that conversation, and they were deemed they could not restrict Brewster from accessing their property.
Okay. I'm okay with that, obviously. I mean, I just figured I'd shoot it out there, see if we could go the other way around.
Whether you or we are okay with it or not makes no difference because that's what the law is.
Agreed. So my last point, Brewster should create an internal traffic pattern that goes out Clark Road, goes out Estabrook, and not use Green Street as their loop, whether it's a gate there or not. It's still using Green Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else from the public like to speak?
Hi. My name is Nancy Hirschberg. I live on Clark Road, and there are quite a few Clark Road people here. Just in case that idea is resurrected, I want to explain to you why we think Clark Road is a terrible idea. And I think, yeah. First of all, I wish the students were here and I could have taken pictures for you. The road that goes by the 3 dorms, so the cars would be driving by 4 dorms, 3 on one side, 1 on the other. There's no sidewalk there. That road is the sidewalk for those students. So there's a mass of students that are on that every single day. That's the first reason. From a safety standpoint, with the students, it's ridiculous. In fact, I would guess maybe it was 15 years ago, a student was hit on that road by a truck that was, the student had on earbuds, was not paying attention, and that was a terrible situation. So it's just ridiculous to have them on the same place as the students. Secondly, other than the rail trail, the 2 roads in Wolfeboro that are the biggest for pedestrians are Sewell Road and Clark Road. So there are literally hundreds of people a day walking on Clark Road. So to put more people more traffic emptying out onto Clark Road, to me seems like not the direction we wanted to go. So I think the solution that's been developed is a good one. I agree that keeping Green Street closed off is important. I do remember when I moved here that it was closed off, and I always wondered why all of a sudden there was all that traffic there. So I think that the solution that's been proposed is a good one. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public who would like to speak?
I got it, thanks. Hi, my name is Bob Tuffer, and excuse me. I'm here with my wife, Pat, and we live at 60 Clark Road, across from the soccer field. The decision's made, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Clark Road, it's a no outlet area. There are approximately 110 residences on Clark Road, Clark Point. There's a nursing home with approximately 100 beds, and you can imagine the amount of traffic that is required to service the nursing home. It's 24/7, 365 days a year. A lot of people work there, a lot of service industries provide services and deliveries to that location, and there's always a lot of traffic coming out of the nursing home. Clark Road has the only Wolfeboro beach that's open to the public. It's crowded all the time and generates quite a bit of traffic. Brewster Beach is also used in the wintertime. All of the bob houses that sit on Wolfeboro Bay are pushed out onto Wolfeboro Bay through Brewster Beach. And all of the citizens who want to visit their bob houses out on the lake come back and forth on Clark Road. Brewster Beach is always busy. We have tennis courts right next to Clark Road. Quite a bit of tennis is played there, quite a bit of pickleball. Generates a lot of traffic, a lot of parking on Clark Road. It's always been my feeling that Clark Road has to remain open. I happen to look after the property across the street from the gate on Clark Road, and in the past, the gate was open for a while, and large vehicles came out, exited Brewster Academy, couldn't turn the wheels fast enough, or, well, they couldn't. If you turn on a large vehicle, if you turn the wheel kind of fast, making a left, you're gonna ram the side of your vehicle on that tree that's sitting there. So my friend's lawn was trashed twice by vehicles coming out of that gate. Probably tractor trailers, maybe coach buses, not sure. And I'm not really sure who paid for the repair, whether it was the contractor driving the vehicle or Brewster Academy. So we really don't need any more traffic on Clark Road. Thank you for your time.
Would anybody else from the public like to speak? Please come up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Amy Hines. I live at 22 Green Street. I think they came up with some good options, but I am a little bit concerned after thinking about it that the gate's going to be like basically at the end of my driveway. But just one thing is to make sure it's actually, the signs are made so that I don't end up with everybody turning around in my driveway, that's all. I mean, I know that's not a big deal, you know, but I was just thinking if it gets clogged up, you know, and, you know, people they can't get the gate open.
If you could speak into the microphone, please.
Okay, if they can't get the gate up or something goes wrong or whatever, you know, and then it's going to be a bunch of confusion. Right.
Yeah, I suspect if this plan is approved and a gate is installed, I expect that there will be at least a few-week learning curve for the public, realizing that they can't go down that path.
Yeah, exactly. I guess, I mean, that's something I'll have to deal with, you know. But I'm just saying that it's I don't know whether it's going to work or not, you know, but it's totally up to them, you know.
Well, I'd like to think it's somewhat up to us.
Well, hopefully. But I just wanted to say, you know, those are my concerns because it's like right outside, you know, I'm going to be backing out into that, you know, that's all. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just kind of speculating from my point of view, having my driveway right there where the gate's going to be, that's all, you know. But anyways, I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Is there any other member of the public that would like to speak? All right, board members, do you have any further questions to anybody?
I have a question, general question for Brewster. Do you have a plan to inform parents, students, employees about the gate? And please don't go down Green Street if you're not authorized. And what is that campaign?
Yeah, so hey Nancy, Peter Gilligan, Brewster Academy. Certainly a plan to inform everybody on campus of the plan. We already have, and we've talked with every our constituents that are on that side of campus. The restrictions that we have, that we put on place, we have the ability, maybe there's a little misnomer about what's happening with the gate, right? So our plan is to allow a very select group of Brewster Academy employees and residents to have access to that gate. Not everyone that works for Brewster. To Peter's point, he says 90% of all traffic on Green Street is Brewster Academy. Brewster Academy, we would be taking it down to about 30 people maximum that would have the ability to go down that road. I think if right now that would say we're putting at we have 150 employees, very few of them drive to work. If the gripe that we have is that it's the Brewster Academy facilities team that's there, well, we do have we did talk with Denise, and we said what we would do is we'd ask our facilities team to use the campus side, meaning going out the gate, do what work we had to do, and go back into that gate. Also, to speak to the point that John was speaking about at the last meeting, which was that corner at the end of Green Street, the four-way traffic spot there that goes across the street. That's a tough spot by Huggins. So instead of having our traffic that we need to provide maintenance and facilities to those homes that we own on Green Street, we would ask them to come back on campus. To speak to Peter's point about traffic flow, what we have done here is to develop a complete internal traffic plan on Brewster's Academy, capping it off with a gate to prevent people from going out Green Street. Of course, the lever I said to Jane, saying the lever I had to try and pull last was something we didn't want to do, which was to try and open up the Clark Road exit. We care for all of our neighbors, the Green Street neighbors and the Clark Road neighbors as well. So in our internal discussions and with the discussions with those people, we decided that was much more of an impact to the community if we did that. I don't know what more we can do. I think we have taken this to the extreme of what can be done. And I just say that, trust in the process. We met with the people on Green Street. Sorry, this mic needs a little bit better pickup. And I feel like we have a good plan that we presented to the board and to our neighbors. So,
to address the point that Mr. Batchelder made earlier with regard to both card access and number access, do you have a way to control the number access? And can you give us an idea of what, you said 30 people might have access to that gate. Can you give us an idea of who that might be, other than maintenance or facilities people?
Facilities, security, and the people who live in South Campus. So the people that live in Lamb, Harris, Vaughan, and Beers, right? We think it's undue burden to put onto them to say, well, you live on this side of campus, now you have to drive all the way across. Now, they're not driving every day. A lot of our people, all of our CLPs are working from 7 o'clock in the morning until 10:30 at night. There's not a lot of time for them to be driving and egressing out Green Street. So we would be restricting that access to only the people that need access to go out Green Street.
And then I assume in addition to the people that you've just mentioned, there will be buses exiting, for example.
Yep. We determined that there's about 28 coach buses that come onto our campus every year. The way that the Smith Center parking was designed and approved by the planning board back in 2002, there's no physical way for them to leave through the center of campus. So those buses would be the only ones that would get the code. That code would change every single time that we have a bus come on campus. The system is not some rudimentary simple gate. It is a highly technological connected system that connects into our regular card access system that we have full command and control over. So I don't see there's no slipping of it. We would manage that. The other idea is that we would know anyone that uses the code. We would know anyone that uses their key fob. And of course we would give that the open access via the Knox box and a transponder to anybody from fire and life safety in town. So like I said, I think we have a pretty good handle on how we handle security in our buildings and our campus.
Okay, could you comment on the proposed possible new dorm? Have you taken that into account when you developed this plan?
Well, yeah, if the location that we had looked for a dorm 2, which is where our old facilities building was, again, it would be a dorm comprising of freshmen or sophomore children who aren't allowed to drive, so they don't have vehicles with them, and up to 4 people, 2 to 4 families that would live in that dorm. So even if that was an increase and we allowed that, if we, in the situation where we're able to build that dorm, we get everything approved, we have that, I don't consider that to be any much of a drastic increase in the traffic on that location. So the other thing too would be, it might also coincide with us offsetting an older building in that area, so it could be a wash.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I just want to point out the fact that everyone needs to remember, having a gate there will slow down the traffic too, without putting in speed bumps, which if I lived on Green Street, I would not like that. So.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we think that this is the best possible solution we could have to come to a middle line with the neighbors. And of course, to address signage, we have signage at multiple locations on your illustrative drawing that you can see that we would have down at the end of Academy Drive where Mudge Corner is. We would have signage that says one-way road signage, no outlet signage. That's on the center of our campus, furthering the campus vehicle distribution method that we have, and also signage at the gate on both sides that would show no entrance. And then we also open up that section that we have to the right, if you're looking out of the Green Street gate, to allow people to have a proper turnaround so that Amy doesn't have to have a logjam in front of her house. And we kept that longer so that people could pull in, and we also pushed the gate further onto our property so they could have enough room for a 3-point turn if they were in a large truck.
John?
Thank you, Peter. I will commend you on making accommodations for the people on Green Street. And for the people on Green Street, I still do understand your concerns. No doubt about it. But as I said before, legal counsel has said we can't restrict Brewster Academy from going onto their property. So a couple things that come to my mind while I listen to you, as far as the 20 to 30 buses that you have coming onto your property, average 2 to 3 a month. If the police and fire building, engine was going to be able to turn on Academy Drive up and then back out, why wouldn't the buses be able to turn around there also?
Yeah, it's simply where the location of their parking is, John. Where they back up, they don't have enough space to be able to do it. There would be a, I don't know, 25-point turn or something along those lines. It's just not conceivable to ask them to go out that route.
Okay. So as I look at your plan here, you have the turnaround circle there on the right side of the Smith Center. What's to keep you from making the connection to Estabrook Drive?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. I mean, right now it's a walking path. It's not suitable for a road. And I would say expense, there's a big expense with that. That must be 300 feet of space.
So do you think that is a future plan?
At this time, it's not a future plan.
Okay. So then what I come to next is, would you put a condition that the gate would be closed for perpetuity just for maintenance and your special vehicles that you give the code to?
That's a pretty broad. I think that's an easy one to say yes to, because if that allows us to dictate what we have for our special vehicles in that sense. The other part of that plan, John, that maybe what didn't suss out, or what we talked about with the residents on Green Street, is our microbirds, which I think is the majority of buses when you think about them. There are 12-passenger, 15-passenger buses. We would not have them leaving Green Street. They would be required to leave out of the main entrance of Academy Drive, not going through Green Street. So they wouldn't have a code or a transponder, and their key fob wouldn't allow them access through. We're just talking about the outside sports teams that bring in a large coach bus that can't make that turnaround at the Smith Center.
Sure. So what I'm thinking about is what the gentleman spoke about, like it's good for now, but maybe later on it becomes an inconvenience and it just gets kind of just left open or something. And what I'm thinking about is the hundreds of people that go for the sporting events later on. And so, I mean, you've expressed your gratitude for having your neighbors and appreciating them. And I think what I'm trying to say is, in the big picture, from what Mr. Tuffer said, the amount of traffic onto Clark Road is, there's a lot of traffic. But before that, there was a huge amount of traffic on South Main Street. So you've tamped this down little by little, and now you're back to gating Green Street and putting something up to restrict a certain amount of vehicles. But again, what I'm trying to say is, okay, what condition and what security do the people on Green Street have that it won't be left open later on, and then they won't have any say?
It's a tough question, John. I can't speak to the future, but I can speak to Brewster's resolve to make sure that we keep the gate in full operating function and adhere to what this board gives us for recommendations.
So if we made a condition that the gate would be closed for perpetuity unless the people who had the key code to open it would be something that you would be amenable to?
I think that's exactly what we're proposing, John. So I don't think what you're asking is anything different than what we're proposing.
I just had to ask the question,
Yep.
that's all.
Yeah.
So a couple other things. On your letter here, July 22nd, you talk about we will collaborate with the Wolfeboro DPW to ensure snow removal operations are updated to accommodate the proposed new gate. Well, if the new gate is on your property, are you saying they're going to have a spot to turn around?
So normally, and we have a pending meeting with the Steve. I'm sorry, apologize. For this, we just haven't been able to sync up in the short time that we've had since the last meeting. Normally, what happens is we allow the town to plow the Green Street snow onto our property, and then it ends in front of one of our dorms by Vaughan. So what the proposed idea would be, and obviously we have to work this out with DPW, would be during a snowstorm we would allow them to open the gate and push that snow all the way in the way that we always have over the last few decades, or that I can know of.
Okay.
Any other concerns, John?
No, I just, I know that the breakthrough chain thing there is probably a little bit more extreme, but I mean, if Peter wanted to move that forward in a motion, I would support that.
All right. Roger, did you have a question?
I have a comment. I think we need to remember that this is an application to reconfigure the parking on the Brewster property. It does not involve building a structure or anything that is going to increase the traffic. And when it first came in, I was very concerned because the way it was laid out, it was going to direct traffic onto Green Street because there was really no other place to go. I think what they are proposing addresses that. And I think it also is going to reduce traffic on Green Street because if somebody's coming to the Smith Center to walk on the track, they're not going to be able to cruise down Green Street or cruise out Green Street. And I think that Brewster really has paid some attention to the abutters and neighbors' concerns. And I think we should approve this as presented tonight.
I would also suggest that some of the criticism was associated with the summer programs, especially with day students and people coming on a regular basis. And the assumption would be that none of those people would have access to the gate. So therefore, there's a huge reduction of that summer traffic.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Any other comments from the board?
I do have one question. We do have this plan showing the current layout, but I'm not sure we have the other plans with drainage and everything else that are current.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so those were originally submitted, I believe, for the July planning.
But those all show, they don't show the road going up to the parking area. You do have some of those.
We did submit those.
But the drainage,
Yes.
sedimentation,
Yes,
landscaping.
grading, planting, everything changed with the road.
So if we were to approve this tonight, we would need revised plans to
You have the
show
revised
what
plans.
we are approving.
Yes, you have the revised plans. The latest plans that were submitted show the new road, the one-way road, where Academy Drive is now, and we've submitted a documentation showing where the new proposed gate is going on the larger campus plan.
Well, when I looked at the most recent thing I could find in the many stacks of plans, I did not find anything beyond what is submitted right here that showed what exactly it is. You still seem to have, I mean, obviously existing conditions are the same, but I could get into maybe May plans, which was a complete set.
We submitted a complete set July 8th, and there's a plan set that went. Yeah, and so it was not it was not part of the recent documentation because it was from like 2 meetings ago, but it has not changed in terms of the one-way road.
So I think what
So we did not submit it again.
Roger's trying to ask you is whether or not you have stormwater management plans for the driveway coming from past the Smith Center to the turnaround area. It looks as though that was an internal, let's just put this road in here to satisfy, and it was on the internal end of things, and it really wasn't part of a site plan approval.
Which road are you talking about?
I'm talking about when you go past the Smith Center, up and around that turnaround there. Was that?
This is the circular turnaround where the proposed new gate would be.
Right.
And
There's
as far
no
as I know, that
changes.
road hasn't changed.
That's existing. There are no changes to that.
But what I'm trying to say is I don't recall that coming in front of the board as part of a site plan.
It was the same, there's no change.
There's no changes to that road.
But you're missing the point. What I'm trying to say, it was just the road is in like marginal condition. It's a road that was just put down, and you just called it a access area. I mean, this is a renewed plan. So what I'm usually, like when we did Estabrook, the redevelopment on Estabrook, we did new calculations for the road area there and the stormwater. Am I right about that, Kathy? So that's what I'm trying to relate to. You haven't provided us stormwater calculations for this upgraded area that you're going to be using.
There are no changes to this area, so it's neither upgraded nor not upgraded. And so I don't believe that we need to submit design documentation for something that's not changing.
If you look at both the original plan and this one, it's the same pavement, it's just called a turnaround instead of just something that's in front of the dorm. And so there's no change that has been made.
John, tell me if I'm mistaken, but I think your interpretation is that because the intended use of the road has changed, that perhaps they should do a new stormwater calculation. Is that accurate?
Well, it's only like a one-width road. It doesn't satisfy the two vehicles going back and forth. If you're gonna do a turnaround, and the fact that the area was never really intended to be a service area for what it's asking it to do right now. It's a redevelopment of the area.
So, John, I'd say that certainly it doesn't ever need two-way traffic. And with the signage, the restrictions that we have, I don't see that there's going to be, I think there'll be a less traffic that travels in that area than ever before on campus, right? So we're not, not changing the road. There's no stormwater change because the road isn't changing. And the use is just going to be for the occasional person that gets down to that area and wants to use that as a turnaround. There's plenty of area for them to turn around. They could turn around on the Vaughan side. There's actually a wide enough area right now for them to turn around right there. We're just giving a traffic flow pattern on the illustrative drawing. And to speak to the, we also know that the road needs work over there. We've been in a development plan for that for quite some time, and we're just trying to get it right before we make any changes to that road.
So what concerns do you have, Roger?
I'm not convinced we have plans showing exactly what we're approving in terms of the landscaping and everything else. I've got some May 21 plans, which is the most recent thing I could find in my files.
Bill, can you shed any light on this?
I don't have July 8th plans. I mean, I onboarded on August 4th, but you would think that you would have a review of those after July 8th.
Yeah, and Rod, we're happy to send the link out again right after this meeting, but it's, I think 6 or 7 meetings deep, it gets a little bit tough on how much paperwork you guys have. So we've been trying to not present you with a giant packet of everything each time to sort of build off of which item that you guys have that you're looking at.
I did not have these in my 3-inch thick stack.
Yeah, so we can, again, we'll send them back out, get them over to Bill.
If we approve it, I think everybody understands what we're approving, but we need to make sure that the plans show what it is we're approving, including the gate and the turnaround, not going up the road, but around the circle.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, we're happy to resubmit those over, and they can get them into your hands, or we'll send them to you direct, whatever one works for you.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, if since they were submitted on July 8th and we've had correspondence from outside engineers on the 22nd, 29th and things, did they review the July 8th plans, and which set of the review would that be?
Yeah,
so we can understand that they've already been looked at.
I'll just double check here, just to make sure. Let's see.
Would it be the 29th or the?
July 29th. We're in receipt of a peer. Let's see. I don't have the tie and bond letter, but yes, they sent a final one with remaining comments that were related to the I&M manual. There were other comments as well, and so we made those changes and responded. So that was August 11th, was the final peer review response.
If I may, here we do have the July 8th plans. They were in an email, so, but that set a little smaller than what you have. So we sent them out to be reviewed, and they're in one of the reviews that are there.
Yes, I don't have the time bond report in front of me, but to see what documents that they were referencing. We had like 3 rounds of documents that went out. There was the first one, I think it was July 8th for the document set, and then I believe we followed up afterwards with updates July 22nd and the letters, initial letter from Brewster. And then we followed up one more time, August 16th, with an update just to additional fencing around the new proposed gate.
It's my belief that at the last meeting, there were no objections to your other plans, as in your water issues and things like that. And the only issue that we had at that time was the traffic flow.
Correct.
And the things that you have changed now on these plans show the change in your traffic flow.
Correct, yes.
And so therefore, I believe that we have everything the way that it should be. Although there were also statements in the past dealing with trees you were going to save, but that's all documented.
Yes.
And so therefore, it seems like we know what you're going to be doing.
Excellent, thank you.
So I just have one more thing. So relative to 17321G, moving forward with the parties responsible for proper maintenance and stormwater control measures, submitting an semi-annual report to the planning board. So over the past few years, you must be doing that already with your other site plan projects. Is that correct?
So John, when that came up from the tithe and bond review, it's the first time we had heard of it. And if you read through, it says, I think if you continue to read through it, and maybe Sean can speak to this, it says, or be subject to review from the planning board, something along those lines. It hasn't been something that was brought to us before now, but we're dedicated. We already have a plan with our civil engineer to make sure we get that done each year. And I think it's an annual report, right, I believe?
It is, but I think in your document there, you said it would be, you would do it in the semi-annual.
I think what is required by the town in the code we would do.
It actually reads, the parties responsible for the proper maintenance of all stormwater control measures shall submit an annual report to the planning board by September 1st each year by a qualified engineer that all stormwater management and erosion control measures are functioning per the approved stormwater management plan.
Yep. Look forward to submitting that on September 1st, 2026.
All right, we'll close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments from the board, or would somebody like to make a motion?
I would make the motion that we accept this proposal as stated with the appropriate documentation.
I'll second it.
Kathy seconds.
Would you add a condition to the gate being closed for perpetuity, and, except for the buses that are required and the maintenance vehicles?
Yes, I would accept that motion, but we also probably need to allow the people in the south part of the campus to also go through there, which doesn't seem to be a large number of people.
Understood.
Agreed.
All right, so Peter, have you accepted the modification?
I accept the modification.
Kathy, you accept it for a second? All right. Any other discussion?
Can we vote on that separately? Because I'm opposed to adding that language.
Okay.
So we'll vote on the,
So we're going to vote just without the amendment then? Is that?
no, with
Yeah.
the amendment.
No,
With the amendment.
Well,
vote on the amendment.
so you want to, okay, I'm sorry. So Roger wants to vote on the amendment.
Actually, we should vote first on the motion, then on the amendment.
Correct.
Yes, because the motion was made first. The motion has the amendment included in it at this moment.
I'm opposed to that.
Any further discussion? All
I
right,
think what
well,
you're
let's vote on the motion and second that we have before us, unless, Peter, you'd like to withdraw your motion. All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
And this is with
This is with the amendment.
opposed.
All right,
I think in perpetuity is an awfully long time, and I think the language is essentially meaningless and difficult to decipher. I think we're putting on here a plan that shows gates. That is a condition of approval. If the people on Green Street tell the town that that's not being followed, the town needs to go out and enforce the approval. And I think adding superfluous language, which is not clear to begin with, is not helpful. But I am very much in favor of approving the proposal, just not in favor of that part of it.
all right.
Motion passed?
I believe the motion passes.
Are there other conditions such as recording deeds and things
Yes,
like
so
that? that need to be
the
added?
additional conditions to be met would be that the plans, and there's a list of 22 plans would be included in the submission. That we've already discussed the landscaping. We've discussed erosion. The municipal electric department recommends voltage conversion. We discussed that at a previous meeting. The applicant shall submit one draft copy of final plans prior to final drawings being submitted. The final drawings shall include every sheet stamped and signed by the land surveyor, engineer, or architect responsible for the site plans, which shall include 2 sets of 24 by 36-inch black line final approved plans, 1 set of 11 by 17 final approved plan drawings, 1 electronic version in PDF format, and all the documentation shall be submitted in the application package by the applicant and any requirements imposed by other agencies, and they are part of this approval unless otherwise updated, revised, clarified in some manner, or superseded in full or in part. In the case of conflicting information between documents, the most recent documentation and this notice herein shall generally be determining. The applicant shall be responsible for payment of a financial surety, the amount of which to be reviewed by the town's consulting engineer at the cost of the applicant. No construction or site work for the site plan shall be undertaken prior to the final financial surety being in place with the town. Installation of erosion control measures and inspection by the town's consulting engineer shall take place prior to any construction activities. The applicant shall enter into a construction observation agreement with the town's consulting engineer for site work. The cost shall be borne by the applicant. Erosion control shall be properly maintained throughout construction. Any breaks or breaches shall be repaired within 48 hours of a storm event. Erosion control shall be checked by the consulting engineer throughout construction. Active and substantial development for this project is defined as construction of at least 50% of the site utilities, parking, and sidewalk work. These improvements must be started within 24 months of the planning board approval date in order to receive 5 years of vesting.
I think the law has changed on that.
Has it? Okay. Thank you, Roger.
I think it's, I'm not positive, but I believe effective July 1, it may be 36 months, but I'm not absolutely positive on that.
All right. Well, I'm pretty sure that this will be done within 24 months. For in perpetuity vesting purposes under RSA 674:39, substantial completion for this project is defined as, quote, completion of the project. Snow shall be removed and stored such that drainage structures can function properly. The applicant shall be responsible for payment of the recording of the notice of decision at the Carroll County Registry of Deeds. The as-built plans, if there are modifications, they shall be itemized on the as-built plans or an accompanying letter and include 2 sets of 24 by 36 black line plans, 1 set of 11 by 17 plan, 1 digital PDF copy of the as-built site plans, 1 stamped and signed as-built plan by the engineer or surveyor to be submitted to the planning department at completion of construction. The following appeals language shall be added to the notice of decision pursuant to RSA 677:15. Any person aggrieved by any decision of the planning board may appeal the decision to the Carroll County Superior Court within 30 days after the date upon which the board voted to approve or disapprove the application, or to the ZBA pursuant to RSA 676:5, Roman numeral 3, within 30 days following the date the board made its decision. I think that's it.
The reason I raised the question about the plans earlier is that I'm not sure that the plan dates referenced here reflect what we're approving.
That's correct. So in the memo from the interim town planner, which was issued on June 3rd, it obviously referenced what are now obsolete plan dates, which is why I didn't read them all off. But I believe it's generally understood through our meeting here that we're talking about the plans that were put together in July and August of this year.
That was really what initiated, because I looked at that.
Yes. Thank you, Roger. I think that concludes our hearing for Brewster. Do we need to do findings of fact, I believe?
Isn't that done after the vote?
Did we?
Finding of fact?
I'm sorry?
Isn't the finding of fact after the vote or not?
Did we not just have the vote? You made the motion?
The finding of fact would be Brewster has responded to traffic issues on Green Street and has provided documentation for requirements related to the site plan review.
And
Thank
they've
you, Peter.
also addressed all of the drainage issues and landscaping issues.
And
Those are part of the site plan review.
Right.
And has agreed to 17321G to provide the town with a updated analysis of their stormwater inspection process.
Very good. All right, that concludes the public hearing. Thank you.
Did we vote?
Didn't we vote on your motion?
Have we voted on the whole plan?
I thought that was what we voted on, to approve. Am I mistaken?
With the conditions, but we listed
yes,
conditions, and then don't we vote on all of that?
Yes, you're right. I should have included those conditions before your motion. Would we like to have a vote again, just for...
Motion to approve this application.
All right, I'll second it.
All those...
I don't understand. The motion included the conditions.
Yes. Peter's point was that what I read just now, that long, lengthy thing I just read now, was read after the vote. And so he wants that included to vote again, that would include all of what I just read. It's the same as what we approved previously, with the added conditions that I just added about the plans.
The facts are usually after with the vote.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, so he made the motion and I'll second that.
Okay, so Peter's made a motion, Kathy seconded it, and this is again to approve as submitted with John's conditions and all the conditions I read.
Okay.
Right.
So I think the vote should be the same, but all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One opposed. There you go. Thank you. I think we're good.
All right.
The next item on the agenda is the draft agenda for September 2nd. So we have on the draft agenda, there are 2 site visits, one for Patricia Hansen Revocable Trust on Forest Road, and a second for Rachel Wilcox on Brown Road, special use permit. Both of them are special use permits.
Can I make a note that it's really nice to know a week ahead that we've got to go somewhere instead of 2 hours ahead? Just saying.
Thank you, Julie. Then there is a Aaron Michaud site plan review change of use, Wolfeboro Area Children's Center parking reconfiguration, and David Flint lot subdivision. Brewster Academy site plan review for dormitory, and Lakes Region Community Developers and Eastern Lakes Housing Coalition for amendment to Harriman Hill Phase 3. Any comments on that from anybody? Other than Julie?
Yeah, I did amendment to the plans for Lakes Region Community Developers. I thought they were well underway.
I'm sorry?
I thought they were well underway. What amendment could we make now at this point? They're digging and building.
They came back to ZBA,
And we didn't get the notice.
to TRC, excuse me, to provide a new layout for the parking that we approved, the line adjustment.
Yeah.
So they moved the shed and realigning the parking spaces and addressing some of the drainage down at the end and so forth. So they have a new kind of a traffic pattern and so
Didn't
forth.
we already do that?
No, that wasn't part of it.
They just did it again?
Yeah, this is more of on-site, not just property line adjustment.
Any other comments about the agenda? No?
Just, Mr. Chairman, I might want to add sort of an update from the planning office. So as we move forward, how we're going to conduct services and what are the differences we might want to look at that can help the planning board. So that might be under your other business. Planning director report is probably the best way.
Yes,
as
and I
item
would
C.
say that would be very welcome.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for August 5th, 2025. Anybody have any comments on the minutes?
On page 2, line 57, 58, it's noted that board conducted a site visit. Don't we usually list who participated in the site visit?
I didn't hear that, Raj.
He's saying that when they list a site visit occurred, normally we would list the members in attendance at that site visit.
That makes sense.
Which I agree, it should list who is in attendance, or who was in attendance. Unfortunately, I was not there, so I can't speak to it.
Well, I went. I know Vaughn went.
I went.
I went.
Kathy go?
Yep. I went.
So, hi, I'm Steph. I'm going to be doing the minutes moving forward. So whatever feedback you could possibly give, please send it my way. Yeah, can you hear me now? So awkward. So any notes that you have to give, please send them my way. I'm open to any and all criticism because I'm basically just like walking in, reading in what happened the last meeting that I wasn't here for either. So again, Stephanie Fair, and I have to double check what my actual email is because it was just issued last week.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So to help out Steph and to answer Roger's question, should we just raise our hands if we went to that?
I would suggest that we both raise our hands and speak, so it'll be on the YouTube video. So, Paul was there, Julie, Nancy,
And Vaughn.
Roger, Vaughn, Steve. All right, that's who was in attendance.
John was there.
And John was there? All right, thank you.
John was there as well. Thank you. Good catch, Roger. Thank you.
Any other comments about the minutes?
Yeah, on page 3, line 79, it was moved by me to accept the Charles M. Blanchett Jr. and Karen M. Blanchett special use permit application is complete, I believe.
Application as complete. Got it.
Are you adding those words, as complete?
As complete, yes.
Any other comments?
You know, let somebody else have a turn.
I'm not sure anybody else needs a turn. All right. Does anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for those changes.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain as I was not present. All right. Any public comment? All right. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.